joy, and you're all here. How much do I love that? There is a song that everybody who's come here before knows. It's in your program. Those of you who haven't been here before, we sing it to each other, and we sing it to the people who are coming in, and I invite you to join me while we do. Waiting for it to come around again. It's like jump rope, right? Come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love and joy and cheer. So come on in, we welcome you. Come on in, we welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad, we really are, you're here. We're spreading love and joy and cheer. So come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. We welcome you. Let go, be free. Come on in and take a seat. We're glad you're here. We're spreading love and joy and cheer. So come on in. We welcome you. Yeah. Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. And you're in. Yay. This next one is also in your program, and this is, if your hearts aren't open already, and I feel you, I know they are, this one, oh my. Reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. You feel that? Try peace. Reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. Reveal the joy. Reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. And that's so good. Let's start at the top. Love. Reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Reveal the peace. Reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. Joy, 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 joy. Reveal the joy inside inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me.
And thank you, Claudia and Jim, for that beautiful opening. So if you'll join me now as we turn within, feeling that splendor, that bliss, that magic of this divine moment in the awareness of the presence of Spirit, that allness, that fullness, that creative energy, that invisible realm of all infinite possibilities, source, supply, and support, recognizing that God is life itself. God is that goodness that fills our hearts, that infinite expression of all good, the divine qualities, knowing that God is in each and every moment within all of us, the kindness, the joy, the peace, the harmony, the compassion, all these beautiful attributes of God that flow so effortlessly through this wonderful Wednesday night revealing experience. And how beautiful it is to be here in community, to feel the bonds of friendship and connection with one another, opening to the healing words of prayer, and to the wonderful insights and inspirations of our beloved Reverend Sunshine as she shares her message with us this evening, taking us each deeper into that realization of truth, of living life from a place of choice and freedom. And how wonderful it is to have our guest artist with us this evening, dear friend Claudia, who sings so magically and so beautifully and shares her gifts and talents with us. What a joy it is to be here and to be centered in the awareness of Spirit. And so for all the wonderful gifts of this evening, I know that we move forward feeling the goodness of God. And so it is. Amen. Well, good evening. My name is Carolyn Holder, and along with Ray Holder, who's back holding the light, it's simply our joy to be here in service tonight and to welcome you to our revealing experience. And part of what we get to do as practitioners is not only be here during the service, but also to be available for prayer following service. So this evening we'll be having you exit out through the family room. However, if you would like a prayer treatment for either Ray or I, please come see us. We'll be in the foyer and be ready to step into the chapel with you and to do a prayer with you. It's always our honor to be that place of light and to hold a space for you. Tonight we're following our May theme, which is Freedom to My Birthright. And the book that Reverend Sunshine is following is called 40 Days to Freedom with Emma Curtis Hopkins, written by Kathy Ann Lewis. And it's a really sweet book, and if you don't have it, I suggest that you either see if you can order it at the bookstore. I'm not sure if we have them in tonight, but talk with their bookstore, and I think by Sunday we'll have them in and ask them to hold you a book so that you can make sure that you can add that to your library. Tonight I'm doing a reading from a 2000, that's the wrong century. We've updated ourselves. We're in the 2000s. This was from a 2011 inspirational reading from one of our Science of Mind guides. And it starts with a beautiful quote from Charles Barton, and he was actually a student of Emma Curtis Hopkins, and that's the person that Reverend Sunshine is referring to. The quote says, "Educate, enlighten, lift up, positive, encourage, magnify the good, and minimize the bad. This is the only remedy that will heal. So this section is called or entitled, Magnify the Good. Sometimes we hear it said that news is all doom and gloom, and those who do the reporting are assigned blame for this. But the medias bring us to what we ask of them. We request a heads up about possible trouble or an announcement of trouble having happened. Upset is newsworthy because it's not the norm. Charles Barton, whose quote I just read a few moments ago, published a magazine, and his words express both his journalistic philosophy and his spiritual sentiments. Magnifies the good and minimize the bad. How can we minimize the bad responsibly? If a hurricane is coming this way, it's wrong to the point of criminality not to say so. If it's just the season when hurricanes tend to form, though no, it's not imminent, isn't it woeful to suggest some preparation? It isn't woeful to suggest some preparation. The minimizing of an unpleasant subject doesn't demand total silence. It can instead to not dwelling on the pathos of any actual or anticipated condition. I don't know what's going on with me tonight, but I'm not reading this very well. Let me do this again. I made a copy of this, but it's not real legible. It's not real easy to read. Anyway, it said, the minimizing of an unpleasant subject doesn't demand total silence. It can instead apply to not dwelling on the pathos of any actual or anticipated condition. The diagnosis is what it is. The prognosis remains to be seen. We can have a more businesslike approach to things, giving due consideration to material needs while only investing our emotions, where a positive difference can be made. This can include magnifying the good of how everyone pulls together in an emergency, and grateful we all are for what we have and for who we love. And so it is. So it's my time to exit after that. And we want to joyfully welcome our beloved Reverend Sunshine.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Carolyn. That was a great prayer and reading. Good evening, everybody. You know, I am always expecting my good. Freedom is my birthright. There is good, and I ought to have it. And Jenny just brought me up keys to a car. You know, just like randomly someone left some keys in the restroom, and I get to drive off in a new car this evening when I leave here. Isn't that great? I'm always expecting my good. So, Abigail. I love you, Abigail. Come up so we can love you, honey. This is your good. This is your good right now. My pleasure. Welcome. Your attention, please. That's the talk title today. And usually when we hear your attention, please, most folks stop talking. They put down what they're reading, unless, of course, you're on an airplane and you've heard it for the 100th time, all the safety precautions, and you're just kind of reading along and having your conversation. But when we hear your attention, please, it is a call to stop and to pay attention, to begin to listen intently, not only with our ears, which we have 2 of them. So we have 2 ears, not just to hear, but to listen. The activity of listening requires not only that we intake with our ears, but that we also focus with our minds and with our hearts, that we seek to understand the message that is about to be given to us. Your attention, please, is simply a call for us to pay attention, for us to become still and know something, or become aware of something great and something good. And so as I speak to you today a little bit just about paying attention, of course, what we pay attention to is what indeed we experience. But y'all already knew I was going to say that, right? What it is that we pay attention to is exactly that which we begin to experience, simply by the fact that we are giving it our undivided attention. I remember a time where, and I may have talked about this once or twice before, where there was a guy driving in the desert, and he falls asleep. But on this long stretch of road, there are these huge cement, concrete, cylinder telephone poles, and they are spaced 30 feet apart as you go down the road. So 30 feet, here's one, another 30 feet, there's another, and so it goes down the long, narrow stretch. And the guy falls asleep. But he wakes up because he's hitting those vats in the road. Da, 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 da. And he wakes up and he sees that his car is going toward the big cement telephone pole. So he says, "Don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole." What's he going to hit? The pole, because that's where his attention is, versus or compared to the 30 feet in between. The 30 feet, that's more than, 30 feet between the poles. Interestingly enough, we've been socialized, we've been trained to look for the absence of good. Somehow or another, we have come to accept mediocrity as our good. We have come to accept lack and limitation as our good. We have come to accept fear and hatred as our good. Somehow or another, we have accepted doom and gloom as that's our good. Like, we ain't gonna get anything better than that. And yet, Emma Curtis Hopkins teaches us and simply states that that which we seek and that which we're paying attention to is what we get to receive. And if indeed we are looking at something less than the wholeness and the goodness that God is, we're shortchanging ourselves. Now, some of us have studied along. I know we have some of our home students here tonight, so welcome to you and welcome to those who are live streaming with us this evening. And some of us have gone along this path of becoming practitioners or studying and matriculating to classes, and we can say, hey, I'm doing so much better in this area. I'm more giving, I'm more loving, I'm more trusting. Good. As it should be. There is good in the world, and I ought to have it. And yet, we must become fully aware and we must become watchful that we're not patting ourselves on the back. Be like, look what I've become. Look what I've done. Look, check out my degree. Look at all the nice things I do. You know, I went to feed the hungry and the folks experiencing homelessness last week. Look at me, look at me. We must become fully aware and be cautious not to boast ourselves up to such a place to where people will then begin to look at us and go, well, she's doing great in that area, but in that area over there, not so much. Because, of course, in every area of our lives, there's room for growth and unfoldment. And yes, there's room for praise and room for congratulatory hugs and places where we can say, yes, I've come a long way in this area. And it feels good because good is ours already. It's already what's ours. Why would I expect something other than what is already mine? It just doesn't make sense. But we want to be aware that we're not becoming boastful about those areas in our lives that we're doing so great at, that we're casting a shadow upon those places where we get to still grow and unfold and flourish and flower and shine. That there's many areas in our lives where we get to really know our health and wholeness, our oneness. That we get to know that that which is true of God, that which is true of good, is true about us. You know, this week in going over, how many folks are having fun with Emma Curtis Hopkins in our book? Yeah, I can see by the raise of hands. Wow. What's been interesting about this particular week is this idea of denial, and she talks about the 5 denials, and she talks a little bit about coming to this place of knowing that, she says, evil is negation. Evil is negation. So when we see evil, what we're seeing is nothing, or actually what we're seeing is the lack of good. So when we continue to see doom and gloom, what we're actually affirming is that we lack seeing the wholeness that God is. When we see and experience sickness, what's happening really is that we are recognizing the lack in ourselves of knowing our wholeness and oneness with God. And what she's asking us to do is to look at things and actually deny them. And this denial process is pretty much the opposites of affirming the truth. So when she says there is no evil, really what she's saying I'll translate, right? For Science of Mind folks. When she says there is no evil, really what she's saying is everything is God. Right? When she says there is no matter, no physical matter, really what she's saying is everything is spirit. Everything is spirit, and the way spirit projects itself, the way spirit outpictures itself, but it's all spirit. That there is no matter. She says there's no absence of life, substance, or intelligence in omnipresent God. So really all she's saying is God is life, God is substance, God is intelligence, God is omnipresent. There is no sickness or death. There's only eternal life. And so, depending upon which way we look at it, so I'm holding up a book. We can all say I'm holding up a book. And yet, the way I see the book and what I see about this book is a totally different perspective than what you see. But we're looking at a book. It's the same book. And you and I can begin to engage, if we choose to, in a dialogue or a discussion or a heated discussion as to who's right with what is being seen. But the truth is that we're talking about the same book. We just have a different perspective upon it. It reminds me of our vision, our global heart vision, where we see a world that is free from hunger. Someone could say, oh, free from hunger, or where there's no sickness, or no this, or no that. And other folks can go, oh, I see a world where people are fed. I see a world where people are whole. Your attention, please. So we're really looking at what are the things that we are paying attention to. Now, I know Ernest Holmes talks a lot about staying in the absolute, staying in the positive, staying in what is, and affirming the truth so that that's what we focus on. Because even to say that there is no this or no that is almost to affirm that there is. However, What Emma is actually doing is she's taking us up the ladder or up the stairs. So for instance, in order for me to get to the top, I could possibly, jump up there, but I have to take a first step. And for some of us, that first step may be the denial that there is no sickness and death until I can get to the point of there's only wholeness. Because to make that jump from there's only wholeness, there's only love, there's only God, there's only spirit, that is all that there is. Sometimes for some of us, depending on our spiritual path and our spiritual growth and unfoldment, that is a leap that we cannot take. That's like going up 4 or 5 steps. That's like trying to get from the first rung of the ladder to the 5th. It's possible, but it's going to take a lot of practice. Some of us may not even be tall enough to reach it, to even pull ourselves to that place. So what she's saying is that it is important for us to really go through that process, to really understand the nature of good, the nature of God. And if we must go through the process of saying, this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, this is not real, then that's the process that we go through to get there. Make sense? Last week, we talked about the lies that act as a law in our lives. And hopefully, between last week and this week, for those of you that were here with us, you have had an opportunity to uncover some of those lies for what they are. And it's the same thing that we're doing this week, but on another level. Because denying, or that denial process, really calling forth and just saying, that's not true, this is not the truth, this is the truth, is another way that we advance towards that place of knowing beyond the shadow of a doubt that right where I stand, my life is that life of God. It is who and what I am. Therefore, the good that I seek is my God. Therefore, there's nothing that can come to me. There's nothing in my experience. There's no thing outside of good, outside of God. Therefore, my experiences are that of health and wholeness, of pure joy, of love, of power, of peace, of harmony. If I'm expecting anything outside of that, I am not recognizing and realizing who I am. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? When we don't recognize that this life energy is in fact our daddy, if you will, is in fact who we are. Like Jesus the Christ clearly stated, he didn't stutter either. He didn't stutter. He said, the Father and I are one. Meaning that life energy, that presence, that power, and I are one. There's nothing that can separate me from the life that God is. And either I believe it or I don't. But to the degree in which I know that for myself, I experience my freedom. I experience my birthright. It's kind of like this. You have all inherited whatever it is that's your joy. And it's unlimited, whether it's unlimited money, unlimited joy, love, relationships, whatever it is, you've just inherited it. It's yours. But what you're doing with your inheritance is going, ooh, I'm only going to take a little bit today. I got to save some for tomorrow. Can't use it all up in one day. That's how silly it is. That God is living us. God is living us. But that we have allowed the world of effects to infiltrate the content of our consciousness to such a degree that we think that there's something else or something outside of God, a duality, or that we don't believe that this is our truth. And it's not our fault. A lot of us have been raised this way. But there's something within us that absolutely resonates with this truth. There's something that continues to nudge at you and just call you to knowing this truth for yourself. There's just something that continues to bring you to studying, to knowing, to practicing, to having, a visioning practice, a visualization practice, to having a meditation practice, a prayer practice, a group, coming together in group or being of sacred service. There's something that continues to call you forth to that practice so that you can just be in that place where you know deeper and deeper and deeper, where you can feel it and sense you're good, you're God. There's something that continues to call you forth. And yet some of us hear that and we think, I better go the other direction. Because if I leave what I know to be true, what shall happen in this unknown with this power, with this presence? What will become of me if I really surrender to this truth that God is living me? Therefore, my good is my God. Therefore, everything is working together for my good. As a matter of fact, everything's working together for every good, not just my personal good. And I begin to live from that place. I begin to pay attention to how I wake up in the morning instead of saying, "Oh, good God, it's morning." I'm like, "Good morning, great God. Good morning, life. Good morning, love. Good morning, joy. Good morning, peace. Good morning, abundance. Good morning, wholeness. Are you ready for me?" It's not, am I ready for it? Are you ready for me? Here I come. Bring it on. Bring it on. And yet, when we're faced with the day-to-day activities that continuously tell us that we're small, that we're not good enough, in the face of sometimes illness, in the face of other people getting sick, we must stand in this truth. We must see our fellow humanity, our divine humanity. We must see the truth in them. It takes practice, y'all. It needs your attention. And what I hear is that sometimes we're too broke to pay attention. Meaning that sometimes we feel so broken because our focus is on the absence of good. And that's when we begin to experience that feeling of brokenness, of there's something wrong. Why is it happening for her? Rev, if there's good and good ought to happen for me, or good is mine, then where's mine? And we start focusing one more time, again, on the absence of good. But you know what? Emma says in her book, and I'm paraphrasing, she says, a mother cannot breathe for her child. A mother cannot eat and nourish that child by eating herself. Meaning the food that I take in, the air that I take in, cannot benefit my child. Because my child must eat and breathe on its own. It must take that in. And so our community must breathe. It must intake the truth. It must nourish and nurture itself with the truth so that we are healthy as a community, so that we continue to grow and unfold to the beautiful flowers in which we are, to the great big rugged trees, if you're a dude and that's important to you. You know, the big great rugged trees, you can grow to be that. But it's on an individual basis. What is it that you're feeding yourself? Where's your attention? And when you notice that you're allowing the world of effects to knock you off your step, you just get back on it. Look, I fell off again. No biggie. What's the truth? There's one power, one presence, one life. That life is my life now. That life is perfect. That life is whole. That life is eternal. That life is peace. That life is abundance. That life is joy. So that means that that's who I am. That's what that means. I deny lack and limitation. There is no such thing. I put that aside. I put aside illness, this idea that my body is less than whole. I keep my eye on the prize that that which is true about God is true about me, because I'm it. I'm it. And the more and more I continue with those life-affirming thoughts, with those life-affirming statements and mantras, the more that I continue having life-affirming conversations and hanging out with people who are life-affirming, then the more that becomes my natural way of being. And it's not that it becomes my natural way of being. This is the revealing experience. So really what happens is I'm simply revealing my natural state of being. The other stuff is artificial. The other stuff is a lie. So as we shed the lies, as we deny that stuff that is no longer true, really what's happening is we're opening up and we're allowing our natural state to reveal itself, to reveal its glory, to reveal its beauty, to reveal its love, to reveal its power, its wholeness, its eternality. We're simply allowing life to reveal itself in, through, and as us. Make sense? Yeah. So let's take that into our quiet time. Let's take that idea into our meditation time. So the invitation is to clear your laps. And I'll read just from today's lesson so that we can take that into our meditation. Out of the Scientific Christian Mental Practice book by Emma Curtis Hopkins, she says, "You will perceive as you go on thinking of first principles that it is your nature to be happy and powerful in proportion to your ability to appreciate what is good." In the beginning, God created, and it was good. There was light, and it was good. There was the ocean, and it was good. There were the animals, the birds of the heavens, and the crawling creatures of the land, and it was good. It was good. So our attention is on good. So today, my attention is on all the good around me. I am aware of God's presence in all things. I abide in this awareness of goodness. So however we use our time in this moment, let us recognize the good of our life. Could be as simple as someone holding a door open for us, or a smile, or an embrace, or anything. Let's name it good. Let's review our day. Let's simply see all the good, all the God that is in our life so that we might continue to pay attention to that godness, that goodness that is within. how good it is to be in the silence, to review our day, to see all the areas where good has shown up. How wonderful, how glorious it is to simply recognize the one power and presence that is God, that is love, that is joy, that is peace, that is harmony, that is abundance and eternal life, and to recognize it as the one power, one presence, one life that there is, and recognize and know it as our very own life. How good it is that we have just made a deposit into our spiritual bank account by simply being in the silence, consciously, purposefully, that we might know our life as the life of God, of good. When you see me, you see good. To know that it is outpicturing itself and that our life is indeed one with all. To know this truth a little bit more. Not only for ourselves, but that we might let our light shine, that others may see it and come to the same realization that their life is that life that God is. That we might continue to redistribute the good, knowing that there is only good. Therefore, it is not only what I ought to have, but it already is mine. And so to the degree in which I accept my birthright, to the degree in which I accept my freedom, to the degree in which I embrace this truth, I live fully from that place. So we just allow anything that would hurt, harm, or hinder our knowing this truth, we allow it to simply fall off of us like a loose garment. We allow it to simply be whisked away into the nothingness from which it came from, and we simply step into our truth boldly, joyfully, embracing and accepting this truth as our very life. For it is so, and it is the truth. So we accept it, we give thanks for it, and we allow it to unfold in, through, and as our life. It is so, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Welcome back. Thank you, Jim. You took me there. Thank you. I'm going to invite the ushers to come forward as this is our conscious giving time. There's a law of giving and receiving, and we're simply redistributing our good. We're simply allowing life to bless us, and we become a blessing onto the world. So thank you in advance for those financial gifts and offerings that you've brought to share with this spiritual community, knowing that we are stewards of that which is given, and that we also redistribute it so that we might be here in this place, that we might continue to have our doors open, that all those who want to know this truth can come freely. So it is from this place of gratitude that we give, simply thankful in advance for all that we receive. And so I ask you to simply take your gifts and offerings and hold it to your heart space, that place that signifies gratitude. Simply become grateful for one thing, something in your life, and that you bless this tithe, this gift, this offering, that you give it from this place, from this heart space. And as you give it your own blessings, we simply know that God blesses and multiplies that which is being given in the physical and that which is intangible. So we give thanks for it. And so it is. Ushers, go forth and multiply. And of course, because there is giving, there is receiving. So please, as you give, open your hearts up to receive the beautiful music and sounds of our beloved Claudia as she blesses us with the gift of music. Music! Thank you, beloved.
Something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. I forgot the words.
Feel like I'm walking.
Thank you. It went. Thank you. All right. Take two. There's something at work here. We're just going to let it be. All right. I know now because I'm walking on him now. Right? Yeah. Feels like I'm walking on marbles. Oh, you have no idea. Can't still the earth beneath my feet.
You gotta watch your words.
See what he did to me?
I'm sorry.
All right, we're starting that verse over because, you know, this is a good song, ladies and gentlemen. Don't talk to me anymore. Feels like I'm walking on marbles. Can't still the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling. I can feel my heart begin to pound. Oh yeah, everybody said something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Long dark night, my soul it wanders. Can't see the light that moves me. If God is everything and everywhere that I belong, Spirit gently wakes me from my sleep. Everybody said something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, pull me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, I know I'm not the only one to live inside these blues. Oh Lord, oh Lord, I surrender my life to you. Oh Lord, oh Lord, I give my life, I give my love to you. Love is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My good is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My faith is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. So tell me, what keeps calling you a little bit deeper than you've ever been before? God is calling me, and I'm grateful like I've never been before.
Yes. Claudia. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you, beloved. You know, here at the Revealing Experience, what we know is that since God is living in, through, and as us, that we are all revealers of truth. And so it is your opportunity to speak to the community, to share a joy, to share something, an aha, a growth from this week, from last week to this week, or even just a statement of gratitude. But it is your opportunity to reveal your good, your joy. Who's going to go first? Uh-huh. Hello, beloved. I saw you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy, and when I first started coming and met Reverend Sunshine, I had 0 piano students, and now I have a full week and 2 brand new ones today, and I'm very grateful. It just not only brings me income, but it brings me so much joy, I can't even describe it. Mm-hmm. So thank you, everybody, for your support.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. She looked for her joy, and boom, there it was. You want to share some joy, Mary? That one little incident of us coming today?
Okay.
This is Reverend Mary LeKay, everyone.
Hi. On the way here, we stopped and we separated. As Sunshine was pumping gas, I ran in to make a couple of purchases. And when I came out of 7-Eleven looking across to the gas station for Sunshine, and I didn't see her. So I was like, where is she? So I was looking out that way, and then I looked this way, and I looked that way, and I didn't know where she was. And then I heard, burp, and she was right there in front of me. I walked right in front of her. I couldn't see my good because my expectations were what I focused on, and my expectations were somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. And so, your attention, please. Where is our attention? Because sometimes we think our good is coming from somewhere else, and it's right there. So when we open ourselves up and become ready, she was ready. Beep. She heard. Beep, beep. There's my good. I get to come to Seaside. Don't hang out at 7-Eleven. All right, one more. Good evening, beloved.
Hi.
Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. We all want to hear you.
Okay, I'm
Just
Katie.
hold it up right there.
I'm Katie, and I've been studying the spiritual principles through Agape for a few years now, and
Let me
and
hold it
it's-
for you.
Yeah, it's too.
Come close.
So, wow, it's loud. So, I listen to a lot of the talks, and I'm so grateful to be able to come here and hear the same message in my very own neighborhood. I think it's wonderful. And recently I heard in a talk that, when we start out in the practice, we're trying to memorize, and we're trying to, learn it. And eventually, as we start practicing it, we're learning it. And I'm finding that I'm being able to practice the principles that are being taught here in my life all the time, which is really cool and it's really freeing. So thanks.
Thank you. Absolutely. We hear it, we try to memorize it, we try to learn it, we practice it. That's the key, practice. It becomes a practice. As a matter of fact, that's why they call these folks practitioners, because they keep practicing. They're not done yet. They keep practicing and practicing. They're licensed practitioners, and then for those of us without a license, we're lay practitioners or ministers, but it is indeed a practice. And as we practice it, we recognize that it is our nature. It is the divine nature. It is our soul simply trying to sing its song. And sometimes we think it sounds too loud. But we get to allow our song to be sung in, through, and as us. And I love the way the song is sung and just expressed through our musicians. So let's give Claudia and Jim some more love. I love the way that the song is sung, the way life expresses itself as our practitioners. And we had 2 practitioners today. Of course, we had Carolyn Holder, and she was representing the practitioner corps on the pulpit today. And I love it because at first I thought this was his title, but it's his name, Ray Holder. He's holding the light in the back, okay? So some love to Ray Holder, who's our practitioner, making sure that this consciousness is just right there. He's holding the rays, Ray Holder, holding the light. Thank you so much, Ray, for your consciousness and your presence. Always want to thank Ed and our audio-visual team. Make sure that we thank Tim and Annette on our live streaming. And Ginny, thank you so much for the love that you provide. And want to make sure we thank Rich. He duplicates the talks every week. So if you want a copy of today's talk or any message that you've heard here previously on a Wednesday night, please make sure that you stop in our bookstore and that you avail yourself to them. They are there for your pleasure, so that you can pop them in and remind yourself as you're driving along and traffic gets a little crazy and you think, I'm never going to get anywhere. You remind yourself of the truth. Everything is in divine order. Everything is unfolding for my good. This appearance of traffic is nothing. I'm going to arrive in perfect and divine timing. If I get fired, it's okay. God is my source and supply, and there will be something else to lavish me with its abundance. It's the truth. It really is. Anyway, thank you, everyone, for being here tonight, for your presence, for your consciousness, for your joy, for your smiles. I unpacked from my car a gang of hugs, okay? So I'm going to be in the back right there. We're going to have some cookies in the family room, and I have a plethora of hugs to distribute. So if you haven't had one, or if you haven't had your 8 per day, or if you want some more, some extras, I have them. I got them. So please be sure to hug me on the way out, and let us stand and do our closing prayer. Our closing prayer is a song. If you're new to our community tonight, You can read the words, but I think you'll get it. It's pretty easy.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
Love you. See you in the family room.
All the good I can handle, I can handle all the good, all the good I can handle, I can handle all the good, all the good I can handle, I can handle all the good in my life today, in my life tomorrow. I can handle all the good. So can you. 'Cause all the good I can handle, I can handle all the good, all the good I can handle, I can handle all the good. Thank you.